Welcome to 843 TV. Today we're here in the WHHI-TV studios. I'm your host, Lisa Richardson.
And I'm your host, Annalisa Itcore. Today we're going to be talking to DayBreak Adult Care Services, which is a fantastic community service here on the island. And we have two great guests to represent the company. We've got Penny Liberatore. She is the Community Relations Director for the company.
Also, we have Coker Day. He is the owner and founder of the Adult Care Services.
So we've got some great content today focusing on a company that is all about there is no place like home.
So stick around for this episode of 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. We're here in our studio today and we're talking to some special folks with DayBreak Adult Care. And we have with us Penny Liberatore and also Coker Day. Nice to have you two today.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we can't wait to learn all about the special services that you provide. But in fact, there's quite a long history. You're the founder and owner. And tell us a little bit about the origin then.
Sure. My name's Coker. I grew up in the Midlands of South Carolina. Finished the Citadel in '95, and after that I did some various jobs, but I kind of came back to my family roots. I grew up in the nursing home business. My mom was a charge nurse or director of nursing at several nursing facilities, and my dad was a nursing home consultant. So when I started looking for what I wanted to do, senior care seemed like a great fit. So I opened up DayBreak, I guess, close to 20 years ago in Columbia was my first office, and since then we've grown from there. We were now on Hilton Head. We've had an office here for about 3 years. About 10 years ago, me and my wife, we decided to purchase a second home in Hilton Head, and then after vacationing and coming down here for several years, I decided it made sense to go ahead and expand a business down here since I already spent so much time down here. So that's where we're at now.
Certainly makes sense with the demographics that we have.
Right.
Well, and absolutely. I mean, this being such a large retirement community, and it's kind of interesting. There's choices that people can make as they're aging or as they're reaching that chapter in their life. Tell us a little bit about the services, Penny, that you guys specifically offer that might be a little unique.
Well, our DayBreak services are really tailored to the individual client and their needs, and also the family and that of the family. But in general, it covers anything from laundry service to light housekeeping to companionship. We do errands. We take them to doctor's appointments. We take them to the movies. We take them to Pinckney Island. Anything that they that we try to keep their daily life as much a part of them as we can while their caregiver has stepped out, let's say for the afternoon. And respite care is really huge, and I want to touch on that because that's what we see a lot of. We see a lot of caregivers. I mean, caregivers, we know they need a break, and hence DayBreak. And we have some clients that just for one afternoon out of the week for 4 hours they get to go and play golf while their wife or their loved one is taken care of, and they know that they're with someone reliable and dependable.
I can speak to how important that is because I took care of my mother for 2 years, and without a service like yours, and my mom, it was so important to her to stay home.
Right.
To be in her familiar surroundings.
Absolutely.
And that was a huge gift to her.
Yes.
Services like yours were a huge gift to me because it's pretty much how I kept my sanity. It was really difficult.
And with what we're offering is we're providing assistance with activities of daily living,
Right.
and so the assistance that people require, it varies from person to person. So
Right.
no two clients are the same. So while there's someone who their struggle may be in the morning getting their day started, getting a bath, getting showered, some people with arthritis have a hard time buttoning shirts. I mean, whatnot.
Daily activities.
We cater our care plans around each individual client and try and find caregivers that are best suited for their needs. So,
How do you go about that then? Do you go into the home and have a consultation, get to know them?
if someone calls us, the first step we do is we'll set up a free consultation. We'll come out to the home. We do a brief assessment. It's not like a stringent nursing assessment or a physical or anything like that. But what we're doing is we're learning about the client. We're learning about their needs, likes, dislikes. Do they have pets in the house? Do they smoke? You know, we want to learn as much about them as we can. And then we'll come back and we'll look at the caregivers that we have available and match them up. If I come into someone's house and you know, their problem is they have Alzheimer's, dementia, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to choose a caregiver who may have special training in Alzheimer's, dementia, or we'll have a caregiver and maybe we have our own training programs, train them up and then match them up with that client. The next step is before we start service, usually Penny or Cheryl, they will come out and they will actually introduce the caregiver to the client.
Meet and greet.
Sure,
called
get
meet
to
and greet.
know each
Right.
other. Yeah.
No charge for that, and we make sure that, you know, everybody's on the same
We
page
hang
about.
out for a bit in the home to make sure that everyone's
Compatible.
absolutely.
Because it's a two-way street, really.
It is,
because it
and
has to be
yes.
that the caregiver that's providing, you know, they feel comfortable.
Absolutely, and we have, you know, some clients that will say, you know, I don't want to have to tell someone what to do, so we need to get into our little routine, and eventually our caregivers, and they become part of the family, if you will. I mean,
sure.
they become a part of the household, and that's what we want. We want them to feel like we are family.
It's so important, I think, to have a company like yours that does provide that training. You said you do a lot of your own training.
Right.
Because, you know, my experience was, as we tried on a few things, and you guys weren't here yet, or we probably would have called you, you know, was occasionally you'd get a company where their idea was the caregiver would come in and sit and watch TV all day.
Right.
And that's exactly.
You know, and it didn't suit my mom, and so
Exactly.
we'd have to start over from scratch. So I love the fact that you really make an effort to match those personalities.
Well, and
That's great.
when we invest a lot in our employees, all of our employees are W-2 employees, so none of them are contract workers. When they come in with us, a lot of them that come to us, they come from different healthcare settings. Like we have a lot of people who had worked in nursing facilities or home health companies. And they come in and they may have training such as certified nursing assistant and different things like that. We actually contract with a company where we have caregiver specific training, and it may be everything from how to accept a guest at a door, or safe driving techniques. You know, if they have a client with dementia, it can show the certain phases of dementia. Sometimes people don't understand why someone may be getting aggressive towards them or whatnot. And we provide training on all that in addition to anything that they've already came to us with. So.
We need to take a quick break,
Okay.
so y'all stay right here. We'll be back with more 843 TV.
Welcome back to 843 TV. Once again, we have Penny and Coker, who are part of DayBreak Adult Care Services. Now, I have to say, you brought this very charming prop, which I think anybody would have a certain relationship when you see sparkly red shoes. But can you explain the significance of this in your company?
Well, it's simply, there's no place like home. And you should see our van. We have it covered with our van as well.
I love
it's
it.
Actually, and it's what we do. We want to keep people in the privacy and comfort of their own home. And this really can speak to a lot of people. Everyone knows the Wizard of
I'll
Oz
tell you,
and the story.
Well, for
I've
those who
seen
may
your
not
ads, you
be
know.
aware, I can't imagine
Yeah.
there is anyone on the earth who doesn't know, but that's Wizard of
Wizard of
Oz.
Oz.
Dorothy clicking the heels, just to
Right.
clarify.
Follow the yellow brick road.
So,
You never know.
yeah, if you're living under a rock. But I mean, it really is clever marketing, because as soon as you were talking about that, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, yes, I have seen your print ads with the little
is great
feet and the
marketing.
red shoes, you
Right.
know, and it's a very heartwarming feeling.
Absolutely, and even our DayBreak, I think our logo, the sun. I mean,
Yep.
what a perfect place too. I mean, everywhere's perfect for a sun, but Hilton Head Island has the most beautiful
Absolutely.
sunrises and sunsets, and I think that, you know, it's a new day, it's a new dawn. let DayBreak come in and help you with your daily activities of life and those loved ones that are struggling.
Well, and again, that phrase that you gave, DayBreak, it has such a lovely double meaning about giving that caregiver a break.
It does.
Absolutely beautiful.
You're absolutely right.
So, Penny, I have to say, and Coker as well, I mean, you gave us a little background in the beginning about yourself, but this really, I imagine, has to be something of a calling.
I personally think so. I come from a long line of family physicians. I too grew up in the Midlands. We actually grew up about 30 minutes from each other.
But you didn't know each other.
Did not know each other. Same year.
She was a Furman grad.
I know. I went to opposite. We went to I went to Furman. He went to Citadel. But he grew up in Batesburg, and I grew up in Prosperity, South Carolina. But my great-grandfather actually started a clinic on the Broad River in Peak, South Carolina, called the Penner Clinic, which is hence my name, Penny. And it celebrated 102 years of service.
Wow.
This past year. My grandmother and grandfather both practiced there, and they're country doctors, rural doctors. My uncle and cousin are there currently, so it's 4 generations of those that truly believe still in the Hippocratic Oath. So I too, like Coker, I grew up making house calls with my grandfather, believe it or not. I mean, he would say, "You want to go?" and jump in the Jeep. So I think it's in our DNA to be in this industry, if you will. And my formal background is hospice. I was a clinical liaison, and my heart is still in that arena as well, which is nice because I'm able to work closely with our various hospices here in the Low Country, as well as home health agencies. And they provide such a wonderful service that's underutilized. So we're kind of the bridge, to the home health and to the hospice. So when, like Coker said, when we go in on a meet and greet or a consultation, I should say, we kind of assess the situation there. And if we see that there needs to be more medical care, then we're going to call the appropriate agency or company for that resource, right? And that's what we want to be. We really want to be a senior resource for, not just, even if they utilize our service or not. I've seen Coker get on the phone and call a social worker, even for someone who we couldn't help with our services.
Right.
So again, it's, we go above and beyond. I've seen it, and it's kind of a way of life for us.
Absolutely. Now, what is the process of enrolling? We talked about you go in and you assess the situation. So if someone is today needing some care considering care for their loved one, where do they start? What should they do?
They can call our office number, which is 843-415-3211, and they'll get Cheryl. And then we immediately do, I will try to get out to that consultation within an hour or two if I can.
Wow.
That's fast service.
Just to let them know. I mean, it depends on what's going on in the given day, but
Right.
We make it a priority because we want them to know that this is what it's going to be like when we are taking care of them. You're going to get a live person on the phone, first of all. We're on call. We rotate call. You're not going to get an answer machine, and we just want to give them that comfort. A lot of times they're in crisis mode, and they need to see someone that's going to relieve them, even if just for a bit.
The typical situation, someone will call us and we'll have a few days to get it staffed. Maybe we come out and set up a consultation, but there's been plenty of times where I've gotten a call here on a Saturday or Sunday and have had to go out to Hilton Head Plantation, Sea Pines, wherever, and do a consult immediately because you never know when you're going to get into a crisis.
Well, that's the thing.
So.
Our situation developed so fast, and it
right.
wasn't like, oh, we should talk about maybe getting some care for mom. It was like, oh, my word, I work full time.
Right.
How are we going to manage this?
Right.
And that's something I want to try to get the conversation started though with and that's, I feel like part of my job is, because I'm dealing with my sick father. He lives in Prosperity and he's in stages of squamous cell carcinoma. But knowing a home health is there gives me such peace of mind. So we had the conversation very early on, and so it was very easy to transition into, because that first phone call can sometimes be, it's hard to make, for your loved one, even though you're doing the right thing. You don't want to think you're giving up on them,
Right.
So I think the conversation needs to start a little sooner in most cases, and I hope that we can help with that.
All right, well, we will be back with some more information about DayBreak Adult Care Services, so stick around for more 843 TV.
welcome back to 843 TV. We are learning so much about the fabulous adult care services of DayBreak. Coker and Penny have been sharing. Let us talk about your geographical location of where your services reach.
Okay. Our Hilton Head office, first of all, our office is located right on the island, right next to Memory Matters, 117 William Hilton
know
Parkway.
exactly
Right, right. We've been in business here for about 3 years, and because of the labor issues that island has, we're trying to grow at a reasonable pace. So right now, we're actively marketing and covering all the locations from Hilton Head Island all the way out the 278 corridor to 95. However, we do cover all of Jasper and Beaufort counties. I've got clients in Ladies Island, I've got clients in Beaufort, so our focus right now is on the Hilton Head and Bluffton markets. However, we are willing to go out into some of the far-reaching areas. We have lots of good employees that live out in rural areas, so we don't have a problem covering
Tell
it.
us how many employees you do have currently.
And he looks off camera for help. So many you can't even count. You know what impresses me though, what I like is that you are growing in a very controlled fashion, because so many companies, I think, focus on growth, and it sounds to me like you're focusing more on providing exemplary care.
Absolutely.
And then growing when you can.
That's correct. That's correct. And I think part of it is with I've opened up other offices, and I have an office in Columbia, and we have one in Aiken, South Carolina, and one in Greenville, and that's as big. And then the one here in Hilton Head, that's as big as we want to get. We're a South Carolina company, and we've got a great reputation that I've spent a lot of time and work on. Making it what it is, that I don't want to ruin it by coming in and
Right.
We have this situation in our family too, where a family member needs care, and I think sometimes the affordability is a concern for caregivers. Share with us about that, on how you all work and help to make that work for families.
Well, when we come into the homes, it's an hourly rate, and there's several different ways to pay for it. 90%, or I'd say probably the majority of our clients pay for it private pay, but almost all long-term care insurance companies will pay for this type of service. I know as soon as I started providing these services, I purchased long-term care for my wife and me. I know my parents and my in-laws have it now, but because it can take care of a lot of these costs. If someone does have a problem paying for these services, one thing about us, and with us being a local company and me being the owner, I'm allowed to make some concessions when possible. And also, there are several grants that you can get through the local council on governments to help with if someone has needs with dementia care or just family caregiving. And if you call our office, we're knowledgeable in those resources.
It sounds like you can really give good guidance.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Many people probably don't know that there's grants available. That's an important thing to get out there.
Right.
I didn't. I wish I'd known that.
Right, absolutely.
So, but to speak to that hourly rate, and I have to say, I think most of these companies, most of your type of company, they're relatively competitive.
Well, and I would say, our when we set our rates, we just don't do it based upon a number we pull out of our head.
Right.
We do it based upon what the labor costs are, and then of course we do go around and we find out what our competitors are charging, and we fall right in the middle. We're not the most expensive company out here, but we're also not the cheapest company out here.
I think people, they think about this type of care as sort of an elite care. It really isn't. I was stunned at how affordable it was.
Absolutely.
And it allowed me to continue with my full-time job, know that my mother was in very good hands during the day, and fit into our budget just fine.
Sure.
So I think people need to get that idea out of their head of, we could never afford that. It's really affordable.
Right. And one thing is we can also, our goal is to we're not just keeping people at home, we're keeping people at their desired level of independence.
That's right.
So we have some clients who may live in an assisted, nice independent, and y'all have some beautiful independent and assisted living facilities here on the island, but they may need a little bit of care in order not to be able to stay in the
Facility,
community that
area.
they've
Right.
chosen.
community.
So we will come out and we can actually supplement the care that they're receiving there in order to lengthen their time where they can stay in an independent living facility versus assisted, or assisted versus going up to a skilled nursing facility.
Right.
And you can never put a price tag on peace of mind. I think that's such an important
Yes.
thing to note. So
Right, absolutely.
I agree. Do you, now, in terms of training for your staff, I know you mentioned some of your staff has special training. Do you offer any skilled nursing?
We not out of this office. We're a non-medical home care
Okay.
company, so it's easier for me to tell people what we cannot do versus what the services we do provide.
I got it.
So we don't do any wound care. We don't do any skilled nursing procedures. We're not helping with any injections or anything like that. But we can help with bathing, dressing, transfers, meals, the whole 9
Right.
yards. We can remind our clients when to take medications. However, we can't be dispensing medications into a pill box.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense and is very understandable.
Right.
But I also like to just to call back to something that you said that I thought was so important is if you see a need that is not being fulfilled or addressed correctly, you have the knowledge and experience to speak up and inform the caregiver, so
That's
the
correct.
caregiver can take action.
And we're in constant communication with our caregivers when they're out in the field. We're in constant communications with our clients
That's
to
so
make sure that
reassuring.
they're satisfied. And we've got a really good group of caregivers. I feel
We do.
great. We're licensed by the state, so of course that goes unsaid. We do criminal background checks on everybody prior to employment. We drug test 100% of my employees prior to
great.
employment, then randomly post employment. And
We have a good group.
Right.
That's
we do.
great.
We really do. It makes a difference because there's going to be a lot of turnover in that particular area.
There is. There is.
well, this has been very educational, and we hope it's helped someone out there who's at this stage or will be at the stage in the near future. So thank you all for watching this episode of 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.
And remember, there's no place like home.